Picture this, you're the only human at StellarNarratives, a sprawling intergalactic university where every other student is some kind of telepathic gas cloud, bioluminescent squid person, or sentient geometric shape. They all look at you like you're a porcelain figurine teetering on the edge of a cosmic shelf. My name's Riley Carter, and I'm what they call a Deathworlder, a term the Galactic Concord loves to slap on anyone from a planet with more than one type of weather. But, to them, I'm not just from a death world. I'm apparently made of glass and good intentions. On my first day, the registrar, floating orb named Quazzle, who communicates in harmonic vibrations, tried to issue me a personal atmospheric stabilizer. For your delicate respiratory system, it hummed, pulsing with concern. I had to explain that, no, my lungs were perfectly happy with Earth's chaotic mix of nitrogen, oxygen, and the occasional whiff of wildfire smoke. Quazzle's glow dimmed me, like it was processing the existential horror of a species that breathes unfiltered air. Earth, you see, is a bit of a galactic anomaly. It's got gravity that would pancake most of my classmates, an atmosphere that's basically a pressure cooker to them, and a biosphere that seems to have evolved with the sole purpose of saying, try me. But somehow, I'm the fragile one. My xenobiology professor, Dr. Solara, sentient fungal colony with a penchant for dramatic spore clouds, starts every class by reminding me to avoid overexertion. Overexertion? I ran a half marathon last summer for fun, but sure, tell me to take it easy. Today's class was no different. Dr. Solara's mycelium network pulsed faintly as she hovered at the front of the lecture hall, her spores forming holographic lecture notes in the air. Riley Carter, she said, her voice like rustling leaves, please ensure you remain seated during today's demonstration. The holographic projectors are calibrated for Class 2 planetary conditions, and I wouldn't want you to strain your primitive musculoskeletal system. Primitive, that's what they call bones around here. I bit back a grin and nodded, settling into my seat next to Clyra, a gaseous empath who looks like a sentient fog bank with googly eyes. Across the room, the Nexa crystalline entity who thinks he's the galaxy's gift to a low hum, his facets glinting smugly. Perhaps the human should observe from a quarantine booth, he suggested, his voice like a tuning fork. I've read that your species requires constant environmental regulation to avoid catastrophic failure. That's called a hazmat suit, Vernix, I shot back, and I only need one when I'm, not on Earth. Clyra's fog swirled with amusement, her eyes bobbing like buoys in a storm. She's the only one who doesn't treat me like I'll disintegrate if someone sneezes too hard. Last week, she watched an Earth documentary about extremophile bacteria and spent an hour asking me if I'd ever met one. Like they're my neighbors or something. Dr. Solara cleared her metaphorical throat, dispersing a cloud of faintly glowing spores. Class, today we begin our unit on apex predators and evolutionary adaptations. Each of you will present on your homeworld's most formidable hunter, analyzing the environmental pressures that shaped its development. The room buzzed with excitement, well buzzed, chimed, and in one case, faintly hissed. Because we've got a lot of weird anatomies here. Riley, she continued, her tone softening to what she probably thought was reassuring, given Earth's gentle ecosystem, you may choose a less intimidating creature. Perhaps one of those fluffy companions your species adores. You mean a dog? I asked, raising an eyebrow. If that's the term for those docile creatures, yes, her spores pulsed with encouragement. Something manageable for your presentation. I leaned back in my seat, a slow smile spreading across my face. Oh, this was going to be good. They thought Earth was a petting zoo. Time to introduce them to the KomodoDragon bee, because nothing says gentle ecosystem like a lizard that can kill with a single bite and eat its prey whole. The next week was a masterclass in alien overconfidence. One by one, my classmates took the stage or floated, slithered, or teleported, depending on their physiology, to present their homeworld's top predators. It was like watching a galactic talent show where everyone's trying to wind up each other. Except instead of singing, They're showing off creatures that eat mountains or dissolve prey with psychic waves. Vernex went first, because of course. He did. His crystalline form refracted the lecture hall's lights into a dazzling display as he projected a hologram of something called a quantum rupture beast. It looked like a floating tetrahedral nightmare that could destabilize molecular bonds just by existing nearby. It consumes entire asteroid fields, Vernex boasted, his facets vibrating with pride. No sentient being has ever survived an encounter. How many sentient beings has it actually encountered? I asked, leaning forward. Vornex's glow dimmed slightly. Well, none. It's primarily a geological predator, but its presence alone is enough to inspire awe. Dr. Solara's spores formed an appreciative cloud, and I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. Next up was Tazara, a bioluminescent cephalopod who communicated through color changes. Her presentation was about a deep-sea creature that lured prey with hypnotic light patterns before dissolving them in acid. It was impressive, sure, but only worked in zero-gravity aquatic environments. I couldn't help but picture it trying to hunt on Earth, flopping uselessly on a beach. Clera's presentation was the highlight. Her fog condensed into a dense ball of excitement as she projected a hologram of her world's mist wraith, a creature that looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a nightmare. It can envelop prey in seconds, she chirped, her eyes bouncing. It's so fast, you don't even know it's there until you're gone. How big is it? I asked, genuinely curious. About the size of your head, she said proudly. I thought about grizzly bears and tried not to laugh. Clara's enthusiasm was infectious, though when I gave her a thumbs up as she floated back to her seat, the whole time. Dr. Solara kept glancing at me, her spores twitching with worry every time someone mentioned predation or digestion. During Dizara's acid-dissolving segment, she suggested I step outside for fresh air, as if Earth didn't have creatures that could melt your face off. I'm good, Professor, I said. We've got things on Earth that do that too. We call them jellyfish. The room went quiet, and Clara's eyes widened like she was re-evaluating my entire existence. That night, I holed up in the StellarAcademy library, a labyrinth of floating data crystals and holographic archives that rearrange themselves based on your thoughts. It's like studying in a disco ball designed by a mad scientist. Clara tagged along, her fog swirling with curiosity as I pulled up holograms of Earth's ecosystems, focusing on the humid, predator-filled islands of Indonesia. Riley, she said, her eyes bobbing as she watched the Komodo dragons stalk through a hologram. How does this creature move so efficiently on such an unstable surface? She gestured at the uneven jungle terrain. It's called walking, I said, pulling up another hologram. And that's not even the cool part. Komodo dragons are apex predators on their islands. They've got no natural enemies, and they hunt by scent, strength, and a bite that's basically biological warfare. Clara's fog flickered. Biological warfare. Yeah, their saliva is loaded with bacteria and venom. One bite, and their prey is done for either from blood loss or infection. Then they just follow it until it collapses. I zoomed in on a Komodo's jagged teeth. Oh, and they can eat up to 80% of their body weight in one sitting. Bones, hooves, everything. Clara's eyes sank into her fog, then popped back up. Your planet has liquid covering most of it, and now you're telling me your land is full of these death lizards. And you're the fragile one. I grinned. Exactly. Want to see something really wild? I pulled up footage of a Komodo dragon taking down a water buffalo, a creature 5 times its size. The hologram showed the lizard's deliberate stalk, the lightning-fast bite, and the buffalo's slow collapse over days. Clara's fog turned a shade I'd never seen before, somewhere between awe and panic. That's horrifyingly beautiful, she whispered. Are you showing this tomorrow? Oh, you bet. And I need you to record the class's reaction. I want to capture the moment Vornix's smug facets crack. Clara's fog swirled with excitement. Can we include the part where it eats the entire animal? Please tell me you're showing that. All that and more, I said, tweaking. The presentation to include a size comparison between a Komodo and the average alien in our class. Wait till they hear about the cannibalism. Clara's eyes nearly popped out of her fog. Cannibalism? Sometimes, I said, shrugging. They're not picky. If it's meat, they'll eat it, friend, foe, or family. We spent hours refining the presentation, Clara asking a million questions about Earth's ecosystems. She was particularly obsessed with the fact that Komodos could smell blood from miles away, which led to a tangent about how humans hunt them for research carefully, with lots of protective gear. By the time we left the library, Clara's fog was practically vibrating with anticipation, and I was feeling like a kid about to pull the ultimate prank. The next day, the lecture hall was packed. Word had gotten around that the human was presenting, and a few extra students had squeezed in. Their various appendages and energy fields buzzing with curiosity. Dr. Solara's spores were already twitching nervously as I approached the presentation platform. Riley, she said, her voice quivering, I must insist you choose a less intense subject. Perhaps those dogs you mentioned. I smiled politely. Don't worry, Professor. I'm sticking to the assignment parameters. I'm presenting on an Earth predator called Varanus komodoensis, commonly known as the KomodoDragon. Vernix let out a dismissive hum, a primitive terrestrial creature, no doubt. My quantum rupture beast could destabilize its molecular structure in seconds. We'll see about that, I said, pulling up my first hologramma life-sized KomodoDragon. Its scaly bulk filling the presentation area. The room went silent, except for a faint crackle from Vornex's facets. Let's start with the basics, I said, pointing to the hologram. Komodo dragons can grow up to 3 meters long and weigh as much as an adult human. They're the largest lizards on Earth, and they dominate their ecosystems. No natural predators, just them, and whatever they decide to eat. Dr. Solara's spores pulsed faintly. Surely they're solitary creatures. Sometimes, I said, switching to a hologram of a Komodo's skull. But let's talk about their bite. Their teeth are serrated, perfect for tearing flesh, and their saliva. It's a cocktail of venom and bacteria so toxic that one bite can kill prey over days. They'll track a wounded animal for miles, waiting for it to die. Clara's fog was practically glowing with excitement, her recording device capturing every reaction. Vornix's facets had developed hairline fractures, and Cesara's bioluminescence dimmed to a sickly green. I pulled up the buffalo footage. Here's a Komodo taking down prey 5 times its size. Watch how it uses stealth, strength, and that toxic bite. The hologram showed the lizard's slow stalk, the sudden lunge, and the buffalo's collapse. The room erupted in a cacophony of gasps, chimes, and one high-pitched squeak from the back. But that's not all, I continued, zooming in on a Komodo eating. They can consume almost their entire body weight in one meal. Bones, organs, everything. And if food's scarce, they'll eat their own kind. No waste, no mercy. Vernix shattered into exactly 52 pieces. I counted later during cleanup. Dr. Solara's spores scattered like a panicked flock of birds, and Tazara's lights went out completely. Clara, meanwhile, was recording with the intensity of a war correspondent. And here's the kicker, I said, pulling up a final hologram of Komodo tracks across an island. They can smell blood from 10 kilometers away. That's like smelling a single drop of blood across this entire campus. Oh, and they've been around for millions of years, surviving everything Earth's thrown at them: volcanoes, earthquakes, you name it. Dr. Solara collapsed into a pile of fungal filaments, her spores forming a faint cloud of distress. Riley, she managed, I believe we've seen enough. Oh, but I haven't told you about their swimming, I said, unable to resist. They can cross oceans to find new islands. Imagine one of these showing up on your beach. The room descended into chaos. 3 students tried to teleport out, only to crash into the lecture hall's anti-teleportation field. Clara's fog was cycling through colors I didn't know existed, and Vornex's fragments were being swept up by a very tired-looking maintenance drone. By the end of the day, The story of the human who broke Xenobiology 302 was the talk of StellarAcademy. The Dina sentient algorithm named Corsavan manifested in our classroom, its holographic form flickering as it surveyed the carnage. Dr. Solara was still a pile of filaments. Vernix was half reassembled, and Sarah was rebooting her bioluminescence. Riley, Carter Corsavan said, its voice like a synthesized chord, your presentation has disrupted several academic protocols. Would you say this KomodoDragon is representative of Earth's biodiversity? I grinned. It's on the milder side, honestly. Want to hear about saltwater crocodiles? They can grow twice as big and ambush prey from rivers. Or maybe box jellyfish. One sting can stop a human heart in minutes. Core7's hologram glitched, and a nearby student dissolved into a puddle of goo. Perhaps, it said carefully, we should re-evaluate Earth's classification in the Galactic Concord. Protected habitat may no longer suffice. Clara, still recording, bounced over. Riley was telling me about something called a polar bear. It's like a Komodo but bigger, furrier, and it hunts on frozen water. Isn't that wild? Hologram flickered again. We will convene a committee to update Earth's designation. In the meantime, counseling services are available for those experiencing reality recalibration, as the class emptied, some students floating, others oozing. A few being carried in containment jars. Clara stayed behind, her fog practically vibrating. Riley, what's Earth's most dangerous predator? I smirked. Ever heard of a wolverine? Small, furry, and it'll fight anything, including bears. Oh, and humans hunt them sometimes for fun. Core7, halfway out the door, developed a visible error code. Dr. Solara's filaments twitched one last time before a maintenance drone decanted her into a portable unit. The fallout was immediate and glorious. StellarAcademy created a new classification for Earth designation, extreme hazard. The Galactic Concord updated its database with a note: native inhabitants may appear harmless. This is a deception. They coexist with predators for recreation. Clara's recording went viral on the quantum net, spawning a series called Earth, the Galaxy's Nightmare. Her episode on Wolverines caused 2 diplomatic incidents and was banned in 4-star systems. Vernix eventually got reassembled, but he now takes the long way around campus to avoid me. Dr. Solara recovered, though her spores never quite regained their former glow. She now teaches a course called Surviving Earth's Biosphere, which has a waiting list, 3 semesters long. As for me, I got promoted to guest lecturer in the newly formed Earth Studies department. My first lecture, on human extreme sports, required new safety protocols after I showed footage of base jumping. Half the class had to be excused, but the rest watched in horrified fascination. Why do humans do this? One student asked, trembling. Why risk death for no reason? Smiled, pulling up a video of a human surfing a 20-meter wave. Because it's fun. Also, we get bored easily. The room erupted in terrified noises, and I leaned back, satisfied. Maybe now they'd stop offering me gravity reducers, and if they didn't, well, I'd just tell them about Australia.